Hello fans and friends across the universe, and welcome to my YouTube channel From Me to You. My name's Keir Smith. For today's video I wanted to talk about the prospect of us getting a new Paul McCartney album this year. Is there any chance we'll get a new Paul McCartney album this year? We're over 3 years now since the release of his last album, McCartney III, back in December 2020. We did get a big clue that Paul McCartney had at least been in the studio recording last year when I saw an interview with Mick Jagger in the lead up to the release of the Rolling Stones' latest album, Hackney Diamonds, and he said that they'd been working with producer Andrew Watt and they couldn't get him for a specific week last year because he'd been working with Paul McCartney. So that was good to hear, but since then everything's been tight-lipped, there's been no news and no further clues. It seems to me that now would be the perfect time to release a new album, coming off the back of the Beatles' success with the Now and Then single and the recent celebration of the 50th anniversary of the Band on the Run album. So Paul's stock is high at the minute, but if we were to get a new Paul McCartney album this year, what would you expect from it and what would you want to hear on it? Personally, I've always loved it when Paul pushes boundaries and takes his music into those odd little corners that you don't expect him to. But I wonder how adventurous Paul wants to be. How adventurous can he be? He's given us so much over the years and musically he's covered so many different styles and genres. Is there anything new for him to cover? And there's a part of me that thinks that this will be Paul's last album, so I don't think he'll take too many risks. I don't think he'll want to tarnish his legacy in any way. But having said that, looking at Paul's last 3 studio albums, New, Egypt Station and McCartney III, they were all very eclectic and full of surprising twists and turns. One thing I would expect from a new Paul McCartney album is a ballad. We've not really had a pure ballad since Chaos and Creation in the Backyard, where we got This Never Happened Before and Anyway, 2 beautiful ballads that close the album. Like I said, I love it when Paul's being adventurous, and looking back at his recent studio albums, I'm always thrilled to hear songs like Appreciate and Road from the new album, and Back in Brazil and Despite Repeated Warnings from Egypt Station. And on McCartney III, Deep Deep Feeling and Deep Down. Now they're not even my favourite songs from those albums, but I just love it when Paul's doing something new. It's always a sweet surprise. And so on any new Paul McCartney album, I'm always hoping for something like that, something where he's trying something new again. And as much as I love to hear Paul goofing around on albums, if we were to get a new Paul McCartney album, I think it will be a clear and concise record, 10, 11 tracks, 40 minutes long, something like that. As I said, I think there'll be a ballad on there. Maybe he'll have one more push at an anthemic song, maybe something big with strings and triumphant. And I appreciate that that may sound like obvious guesswork, but I think he'll make a concentrated effort to make one last great album, and I think it could end up being something like Flaming Pie, for example. Like I said, I get this nagging feeling that this could well be Paul's last album, and I say that because Paul's 82 this year, and while he shows no signs of slowing up, albums get released at such a slow pace these days. Like I say, we're over 3 and a bit years now since McCartney III, and that seems to be the going pace for releasing albums these days. New albums get released by bands and artists every 2-3 years really. And of course I'm wondering, I'm guessing, but one thing I do know, whatever we get, whenever we get it, it will be good. Even the worst Paul McCartney albums have at least 3 songs, if not 4 or 5, that I could not live without. But as I said, the time to strike is now. We've had Now and Then, we've had the Band on the Run reissues. What's next on Paul's calendar this year? I mean, I don't think we'll see the London Town and Back to the Egg reissues this year. Will that ever be released? And of course, any release date for a new Paul McCartney album will be carefully considered. He'll be keen not to clash with any of the other Beatles solo related stuff that's coming out this year. But other than that, I can't see anything standing in his way. He's been in the studio last year. Paul tends to work pretty fast. So I'm hoping, wishing, praying that we get a new Paul McCartney album this year. But will we? What do you think? What are you hoping to hear from a new Paul McCartney album? Please leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, peace and love.